We lived a very, very simple life, but it was full of love. When I came to Australia, I even tried out in Berg Street. There's the army building. I went there, tried out to get into special forces. I actually passed my exam, but my parents were like, we came all the way here for freedom and all that, take you away from the war. So what's the point of you doing it? You want to be in charge of my own destiny. I thought, fuck it, I'm going to do my own thing. Came up with the name Broadband Solutions. I thought Broadband Solutions could make sense. Looked it up. It was available.com.au, registered it, and that's where it started from.
It's all about managing that ego, because you've got to have the ego, right?
Yeah, to push you, man.
To push you. You wouldn't have achieved what you had in life if you hadn't had the ego to go, fuck this, I want more for myself. But then you have to be able to remove the ego that says, fuck me, I'm better than everyone else.
I wasn't much around when the kids were growing up because I was trying to do my thing with work and everything else. But now I'm trying to spend as much time as possible, man. Like, there's been a massive shift in my life.
So that together we have clarity, direction, and success way beyond what we ever previously thought possible. Here's your host, Frankie Lee.
First things first, guys, before we get started with this podcast, do me a solid favor and subscribe to this on whatever platform you're listening to it right now. Whether that's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I'd appreciate if you just hit that subscribe button, and it lets me know that the content that I'm putting out for you guys is hitting your ears at the right time. Much love. This podcast is sponsored by contentremoval.com. So whether you're looking to remove any images, videos, search results, fake Instagram accounts, get in touch with us at contentremoval.com. Welcome back to the Frankie Lee podcast. Today, guys, I have got a man on here that you guys have been asking me for a long time, and I've flown to Melbourne and I'm making it happen. The owner of Broadband Solutions, also a big guy in the cannabis space now as well, and other businesses, other marketing agencies, stuff like that. Sam Bashiry, welcome to the show, mate.
Hey, bud, thanks for, number one, having me on the show. Number two, I appreciate the fact that you reached out to me because your audience were asking us to have a chat, and for you to get up and come to Melbourne and make it happen, that says a lot about your character, so I appreciate that.
No, I appreciate it, mate. And like we were saying before the podcast, it's like when you want to be number one in something, when you're passionate about something, you just make shit happen. You don't sit on the Gold Coast and wait for people to come to you. Everyone's busy. So I appreciate your time, and this is what I love to do. So before we go into like all the businesses and everything and all the success, because obviously if someone new was to look at you now who didn't know you, they'd look at Instagram, they'd see the cars, they'd see all that kind of stuff, and they'd see all that, and they'd be like, oh, this guy's had a gift, but you and your family immigrated to this country in 1989, was it?
1989, yeah. So 1989, me, my mum and sister, we got on a plane, came to Australia. We came here without a visa, so we kind of came here illegally. Yeah. So as part of that process, we had to be put in a detention centre for, I think, 2.5 years, almost 3 years. The whole process went for. So back then I was 10 years old. So bit of a shock to the system.
So you spent from 10 to 12 in a
10 to 12 in detention, and then a year or so in a hostel, which is like an area where they allow migrants to settle into the country. So yeah.
What was it kind of like at that age, being in a detention centre? Did it feel like you're in some form of prison, or what?
It was a prison. Yeah. So it's basically a place that they put you in. If you overstay your visa, they put you in there until they send you back to your country. So it's not really designed for people that come into the country illegally, because back then it wasn't really happening. Yeah, it didn't work like that. So you got a visa, you came to Australia, you overstayed it, they find you, they put you in there for a day or two, and they send you back until you buy your ticket, send you back to your country. So it wasn't designed for people like us. So it was a prison, bunk beds, police, the whole system. You go to lunch at a certain time, dinner at a certain time, bed at a certain time. So as a kid, you don't really think about things too much. You think, oh, well, this is what it is, so you just got to get on with it, But when you look back, and if you do look back, because you try and block a lot of things out as you grow, because you don't want to keep going back to certain things. It's probably, when I look back, I don't know, it could have been very daunting for a kid on my age.
100% it's daunting. But it seems a bit of a wrong question to ask, but I want to ask it. It's like, was it better being in the detention centre than being back where you were, or was it, did your family see that as a new start, or did they kind of become like a little bit resentful of the fact that they're locked up in this box when they come to a new country?
Yeah, good question. being in Iran and growing up, we had a great life, but we had no freedoms. So when you look at it, do you have no freedom for another couple of years and then get the opportunity of a lifetime?
Yeah.
Or do you continue to stay there and be silenced and not have freedom for another 40, 50 or 60 years as long as you live? So you got to look at it that way. So when you think about it, what's 2 more years or 3 more years to get to live in the best country in the world?
It is, isn't it?
And you don't think about it like that at that stage, because you think like, wow, we've gone through all the stuff that we've gone through. We've come here now. Why are we getting locked up? This is terrible. Like, this is not a way to welcome someone to the country. We're not criminals. We just want a better life. But when you ask the question, and I think about it now, you go, well, what's 2 more years?
See, obviously, I'm an immigrant of Australia, but obviously came in the legal route, obviously. But I spoke to a lot of people that have been through similar situations to yourself, and it does put a rocket up your ass in terms of like, right, when you get out of this place, now's time to turn it on and become successful. What were the kind of first like jobs and businesses that your parents started after they got out of?
So just my mum. So my dad wasn't here. So my dad came 7 years later. So reality was like mum didn't have a job. We went to school. It's just basically getting money from overseas. Having our family and stuff send money from overseas, because we weren't still not entitled to get any government assistance. It didn't work like that. So until you became a permanent resident, you got nothing from the government, right? And you went, I don't know what the laws were back then. I don't think you could work certain hours, all that. So really, it was just basically based on our support from our family over there, sending money for us to live, which meant you didn't really get to have a very luxurious lifestyle. I remember living in a 1 or 2 bedroom flat in Oakley, in Springvale, which is one of the suburbs in Melbourne. So we went with very basics, not having a car. I remember going to the school camp, putting my bags in a trolley and pushing for an hour to get to school, because, you had to get to the school camp. So we lived a very, very simple life, but it was full of love. Still full of my mum's love and my sister's love, and a lot of love from family overseas still, So there's plenty of love, but not luxuries. Very basic,
But you say love, not luxuries. But I would argue that love is
the biggest luxury.
Is the biggest luxury that you can have, especially with being Iranian and being around your family. It's very family oriented.
100%, and that you can't put a price on that. But what I'm trying to say is that we had the basics in terms of mum couldn't work, so we had to just go with bare minimum.
And when you kind of like went through school and left school, I presume you had to learn English through school as well.
I learned English by going to school. You walk in, and probably fuck's the first word you learn. Being a guy, and all the words that you shouldn't. But anyways, so you just learn, man. You have to learn pretty quick, because you get picked on at school and you get bullied if you don't know. Especially the culture is very different. I remember coming to school, and when the teacher walked in, I stood up, because that's what we do in Iran. And it's that sign of respect. When the teacher walks in, everybody stands up, and everyone's just laughing again. What's this guy standing up for? So you gotta learn all those things pretty smart quick. Otherwise, you're gonna have a pretty tough time.
And then obviously when you left school, did you straight away get started having an interest in business and?
No, I never did. No, I didn't, man. I wasn't hustling as a kid. People think, a lot of people are always business orientated. They're always hustling. I always wanted to be a policeman or be in the army as a kid. That was my dream, to become special forces and all that kind of stuff. I absolutely loved it, And I remember when I came to Australia, I even tried out in Berg Street. There's the army building. I went there, tried out to get into special forces. I actually passed my exam, but my parents were like, we came all the way here for freedom and all that, take you away from the war. So what's the point of you doing it? I was really passionate about stuff like that. I was never into business. For me, it came later on. So for me, really, the whole the story started from me being at uni, doing a degree I was doing a double degree in computing and electrical engineering. I had real no interest in it at all. Yeah. I just went to school to hang out. I went to uni to hang out at the cafeteria, meet people, and have a good time, right? And one day I rocked up home. I was sitting in the car, and I looked in the car mirror, and I started boiling my eyes out. I'm like, fuck, what am I doing with my life? I don't know how old I was. I think 23, 24. I don't know. Oh,
really? So like still early, but later on.
And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I have no idea what I'm doing. Having a lot of fun, but this is really not going to get me anywhere. I need to get a job. You need to get some kind of a professional job.
Yeah.
Back then, internet was quite new. Dial-up internet was just starting. Is the boom. I went to Centrelink, which is a place you look for jobs. Looked for a job. There was a IT job that came up on the computer. It prints it out, and then you go up to the counter, give it to the counter, and the lady gives you the details. Set up an interview for me at 459 Collins Street, level 14. There was a company called ESA. I walked in there the next day, went to reception and said, I'm here for a job interview. There's all these young kids running around everywhere, right? It's just like chaos. Anyways, she said to me, go down the end, see Stuart. Saw Stuart. He said, what do you know about computers? I said, I know how to use computers. I've got a Commodore 64, which a lot of people would know what that is. It's one of the first computers that ever
came out. I do.
Yeah, Carmen San Diego, I used to play on it and stuff.
And the Acorns. Do you remember the Acorns back in the day?
Yeah, man. And then he goes, you start tomorrow $7.50 an hour. Okay, so that's how I started my career, $7.50 an hour help desk. So if you couldn't log on to the internet, you call and we help you log on. So we gave you modem strings and all these kind of different things that you put in, which makes no sense now. Didn't know anything. Again, I was in a cubicle with 5 other people. I rocked up first, was the last to leave, asked a lot of questions, and it's sink or swim, basically, right? Did that for a couple of years, and then I thought, fuck, everyone that calls is always pissed off because the internet's not working, this, that. This is like a kind of a bit of a miserable job now that I've done a few years. Wanted to get into sales, so I wanted to try sales. I loved people. I loved talking. It's something that I really was passionate about. A friend of mine that worked for me moved on to another company. It was a family business. They were in internet as well. Set up an interview with me, with the wife of the owner. Did the interview. She said, yeah, you're a great guy, but your language skills are not to a level that needs to be able to talk to CEOs. So I don't think you'll match this, job. Anyways, asked Simon, my friend, to see if he can have a chat to her husband, Matthew, if he can come in for a second interview. He said, leave it with me. Anyways, he managed to arrange that. Went in for a second interview. Matthew absolutely loved me. And he said, listen, don't worry about it. I think you'll be all right. That's how I started in sales. That's when broadband was just starting. So we're moving from dial-up to ADSL and broadband. Absolutely loved it, man.
And I bet your bottom line in terms of what you're earning as well went up a massive amount when you were selling comms.
It did. So I think I went from 27 to 60K or something.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely a gun at it. I was really good at it, right? One day, I always sat around, and the people that I worked with, they were much older than me, right? Throughout the process, what happened was a lot of the companies got bought out. There's a lot of acquisitions happening, so we got bought out by a public company and all that. I was part of that process. I was always looking at that process, what was happening, and I remember seeing a lot of people getting made redundant and all that throughout the process, older guys. I'm old now, so similar to what I am, 44. And I thought, man, I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be that guy that has a $2-3 million mortgage and whatever else and get a tap on the shoulder and my life changes overnight. I don't want to do that, I want to be able to control my own destiny, man, and I didn't do the whole corporate thing, I didn't do Friday night drinks. I got way too much ego. I never sucked up, and I knew, again, I wasn't going to move up in the corporate world. There's a whole culture, in the corporate world, you got to do the Friday night drinks. You got to hang out with your bosses. You got to do that, even if you don't like them. I can't do that, man. If I don't like someone, I don't want to talk to them, right? If I love someone, I give them everything, right?
Yeah.
So you can see it in my face. I can't hide how I feel, right? And that and the combination of that, I didn't want to, I want to be in charge of my own destiny. I thought, fuck it, I'm going to do my own thing. Came up with the name Broadband Solutions. I thought Broadband Solutions kind of makes sense. Looked it up. It was available.com.au, registered it, and that's where it started from.
And then obviously you've just registered this domain. You got the PTYT limited set up. Everything's all good, which a lot of people think are, a lot of people when they start a business, they think about, I've got to get the logo right. I've got the domain name. I'll set the business up. It's like now you set up that entity and you've got this entity ready to rock and roll. Yeah. How did you go about getting it into the marketplace and obviously scaling that up to
I had no money, so there's no marketing going to happen. There was a whiteboard like thing online, Broadband Choice. So I found all the places where you can advertise for free. Yeah. So Broadband Choice was a comparison site. Yeah, back then for internet companies where you upload your stuff. It's a community comparison site.
Yeah.
Put up ads there. Put up my plans and all that up there, and then I was at the gym in Smith Street, Fitzroy, actually working out. Got a phone call from a gentleman saying, "Hey, I look after 30 or 40 BP petrol station truck stops. we need some internet for our IP cameras and all that. I'll saw you ad on that bulletin board. Would you be able to help me? I said, yeah, of course I can help you, So jumped on, did some pricing.
First one, 30 or 40 petrol stations.
Yeah, man. And I went. So the company that I worked with, got obviously bought over by a public company, and the gentleman that was in charge of the wholesale there was a friend of mine because I worked with him for a long time, And I went to him and I said, listen, I'd like to buy wholesale off you. Told me to fuck off, and I said, listen, I've got an order for 30 here, mate. And he goes, fuck. He was pretty impressed, so he gave me a shot. He's been working for me, the same guy, for 12 years now. Yeah, it's a funny thing. So that's how I started. And then I couldn't do it all alone. I needed help because I was doing marketing, support, building the network, the whole lot, all by myself. It was just too much.
Just literally on your own?
I was by myself. I was doing everything by myself. Man, it was hard. Like, I wasn't sleeping at night. A lot of stress, trying to put out this image of this company that's bigger than what it is. You have to.
Which we all do when we start.
You have to, man. You have to. The secret is you got to deliver. You got to over deliver. It doesn't matter if you're 1 or 2 man show. Who gives a shit? As long as you over deliver, no one will ever question you. It's when you don't over deliver, then you just fall apart. It's terrible, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, corner of Latrobe and William Street, so very close to where we are now.
Yeah.
Near the federal police building. It was pissing down rain. I picked up the phone, called a gentleman called Brad Hughes. Brad used to work with me, same place, but also he worked for a company called Planet Netcom, which was up in Penrith, which this public company bought as a part of the merger and acquisitions. I said he's one of the smartest people I've ever met. Absolute genius of a guy, top bloke. I've never met anybody as nice as him. I said, but I've set up a company, 6 months into it roughly. I'll give you 50% if you pack your bags and come down by the end of the week. I said, all right, give me a day or two to think about it. I think it was a Tuesday. He rang me back the same night. He said, fuck it, I'll do it. So never met him face-to-face, talked a lot over the phone, never met him face-to-face. Picked him up at Melbourne Airport, shook hands and said, I thought you'd be taller than what you are. I don't know why, for some reason. Never met the bloke. Shook hands, never signed any paperwork for probably 6 or 7 years into the business. In life, there's 2 things that are important. Your life partner, your business partner. You get those 2 right, you'll do pretty well in life.
I love
right?
that. I love that. Yeah.
And yeah, man, that's how he came across, started building the network. Absolute, again, genius of a guy. He had a vision, in terms of technology. Probably that was 10 years ahead. We built our own phone system in the cloud, voice over IP, probably 12, 14 years ago when nobody was, doing that, right? Now you see these Cisco systems and all these other systems that are in the cloud. We had that vision 12, 14 years ago even. And we said, we knew that's where technology was going to go. It just wasn't ready in terms of, cost of broadband and all that. It was too expensive.
Up into it.
It wasn't. But we knew it was going to be that. So we built our own phone system that long ago, and getting that certified by Marriott Group globally now is one of the biggest achievements for an Australian company to ever do. It's taken 15 years to do that, but,
Do you do all the Marriotts in Australia now?
So we look after 90% of all the hotels, but our phone system now has been certified globally by Marriott Group, which is a big deal. It's all the Australian companies. So there's actually 4 companies, 3 or 4 that have been certified to provide services in terms of phone services. For Marriott, we are the only one that's certified to do it in the cloud as of now. That doesn't mean it won't change tomorrow, the day after. But we are the only Australian company that's certified globally to do that. So, we had this vision 12, 14 years ago to build this phone system. We never knew it was going to turn out to be what it is today.
That's mad, man.
Yeah, man. So Courtyard Marriott down the road in North Melbourne is opening tomorrow. Our first project, which we've installed a system into it. We've installed in a lot of other hotels, but never in a Marriott. That's our first system. Tomorrow's the opening day for Courtyard Marriott, so I'm going to go there and have a look. It's a special moment for me, man. It's got nothing to do with money and all that kind of stuff. It's a special moment because it's something that my business partner saw 14 years ago. I saw 14 years ago. We put it together. It's just come to fruition now, so I'm pretty excited about it.
And that just goes to show you how long these visions take to build.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? And it's all about doing those daily reps and this and the other. Yeah. I noticed there that you said that the 2 most important things was obviously your life partner and your business partner. In regards to both of those and finding those for like young men, young women in business that want to find their life partner, young men, young women that want to find their business partner, what is your advice on finding the right kind of people in both of those areas? Very good question, man. It's really hard. I always get that. I have a lot of friends and they're always like, hey, man, how do I meet a nice guy? How do I meet a nice guy? How do I find this, that, And I it's hard, man, but one of the things I found is
You got to put yourself out there. Number one, you got to put yourself out there. You got to network. You know, you got to network, but you got to look for qualities in a person. Right? You're going to meet a lot of people, and you know, something that I still do today. You know, I meet a lot of people, but I look for small quality, small things of their character. You know, character quality in people. You know, and for me, it's about number one's integrity. Right, integrity and honesty. And honesty doesn't matter how bad it could be as well. Sometimes you don't like honesty because it could be bad. You don't like it. You don't agree with it. But as long as they have the balls to say it or they have the courage to say it, that's a big thing for me. And I think you just got to look at those little things in people, and you got to be switched on enough to pick that up. And if doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but if it sits with you well and how you operate and how your beliefs are and how you know you've grown up and it just feels at home. And you guys get each other, your girl, guy gets each other, whatever it may be, or, you know, your business partner, you get each other. And if it's all kosher with you and it feels good, then it's good. Yeah. But if you see little qualities which just don't agree with you, man.
And it's your gut, isn't it?
100%. Your gut's your angels, yeah? I'm not religious, but I believe in that stuff. That you know, this is your angels. You never go against your gut feeling, right? If it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. Don't go against it. And it's crazy because you could meet people from all walks of life. It has nothing to do with what they do, who they are. It's how they treat you, how you treat them, and the respect, the integrity, the love. You know, that stuff you can't fake, you know. And you've got to be smart enough to pick those little things up. Like if a person says thank you, even little things like that, when you do something. Like, if a person, you know, calls you to check up on you, for example, for no reason, not because they want something. Just say, hey, how are you, mate? Just wanted to, you know, I thought about you today. I just wanted to reach out to you and make sure you're all right. Just little things you got to look for in people, man. And I think that they don't teach you at school. That's because of street smarts, right?
Have you had those people on Instagram reach out to you saying, hey, how are you? And then and then straight away they ask for something.
Yeah, always,
after.
Man. Always, but
that is a constant reminder of exactly what you should look for in someone that you know what their game is.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
100%.
You know what that game is.
And it's your responsibility, but it's your responsibility to be able to pick that up. You know, I hate people like that blame other people and stuff. It's up to you, you know. If you're not switching enough to pick that up, then hopefully you'll learn from your mistakes because you make those mistakes and people say, oh, this person's smart. I just say he's older. He's made more mistakes. That's why he's smarter, you know, because you learn through your mistakes. You learn as you grow up, you know. You learn as you're more exposed to different environments and different things. And it's your job to learn from that. But the number one thing is integrity, man. I don't like people with no integrity. You know, if you meet people that have no integrity, then something's really wrong, man. And those things you can't really fix. It's just who you are as a person. Yeah. They could try, but it just doesn't work out. But, you know, you just got to always do the right thing, even at your own cost.
Yeah, right? 100%. Yeah.
So it's, you know,
I've had some things across business that have cost me a lot more money to deliver than what they should have done, and sometimes I've not even made profit on it because of the fact of like, oh fuck, that's taken longer. But if you deliver that, then the payoff on the back of that is you get recommended by that client to other people, and
100%,
and it all comes back. Everything you put out that's good into the world, man, comes back to you. You know, and if you say you're going to be somewhere, be there.
You got to do it, but karma, man. Funny, I know it's a bit off topic. Yesterday was the Persian 1 week before the Persian New Year, which is on Monday. You know, and I went to my mum and dad's house. We were sitting there just kind of reflect a little bit, and I don't get to spend a lot of time with my dad. I love my dad. I love my family. One of the biggest things that I want to concentrate on since I've hit 40, you know, in the last 4 years was to less business, more family. Okay, it's been a big thing for me. I'm very content in life right now. I was never content. I was always chasing it. I never thought it was enough. The more I got off, the more I felt better. The more people gave me respect. That's how I felt because we had nothing, right? You different mindset, right? Last 4 years, it's all about family, love, dropping the kids off at school, doing whatever I can with the family. I don't give a fuck about money anymore, right? And people say, oh, yeah, maybe because you have money. It's got nothing to do with it, right? So I was talking to my dad, and, you know, he went back probably 20 years or something. I can't remember. So long time back. And he said, oh, you know, I don't know how he came up. We're talking about real estate. He said, oh, yeah, remember that guy, you know, my friend, you know, that had all that block of land in South Morang in Epping. Remember, I can't believe he sold it and went to Warrandyte. That would have been worth probably, you know, I don't know, hundreds of millions now, right? Because they're subdivided. It was farmland back then, right? And he goes, you know, I can't believe he messed that up, you know. And I said, Dad, you know what? Do you remember, because this is when my dad came, I was 7, 8 years, yeah? So my dad came and, you know, you meet different people within the community. And my dad went and, you know, worked with this guy. They wanted to come up. They built on that in that farmland, they built this factory. My dad and him built a, factory together, plus other people obviously involved, to quails. You know quails, like the birds, to get quails in there and do the whole thing, And I remember as a kid my dad came home one day and we had to take him to hospital. They had taken him to hospital. We had to go to hospital. And he had cracked his head open because while they were building it, the hammer went missing or he went off or something and hit him in the head. Yeah. I remember that, right? I still got the scar. And I said, and then after everything was finished, the guy turned around and said, we have some problems with water coming to this factory. I think I'm going to take over and do it myself. Basically, he stooged my dad, took my dad's hard work, labor work, and all the money that he put in and basically said, look, I'm doing it by myself. And he goes, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I said, Dad, that was his karma. So what happened with him with the land and all that was his karma for what he did to you. So in life.
So that was the guy. That was the same guy.
Same guy, because we were talking about it. I said, Dad, he fucking missed out on that deal because of his bad karma. And my dad just stopped and he goes, fuck, I forgot about what happened. You're right. I said, and so talking about being a good person, integrity and, showing up and doing the right thing. 100%, man. It doesn't happen overnight, right? It happens 10, 20 years later. Or I have a saying that if you're not a good person, a lot of the times bad things happen to your loved ones, not you, because you can handle it. You're just a shit person anyway. Yeah. So you're built that way. You're designed that way. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter what happens. You just keep going. But you can't control what happens to people that you love the most. And that's how it gets you, right? Because you have no control over their feelings and emotions and all that.
100%.
So karma is a big thing, man. So a lot of the times you do a lot of things that by going with your brain and financially makes no sense. And someone looking from outside will say, what are you doing? Why did you do that, man? But hey, if you're helping someone and you're in a position to do it, it's okay to go with your gut feeling and to give, bro. Yeah. There has to be no reason. Real giving is when you give and you expect nothing in return. Then it becomes a transaction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not giving. That's transaction.
When people film themselves giving to someone on the street and put it on social media, that infuriates me because, like, I give, but I don't need people to know about that. Do you know what I mean? Because it makes me feel like ill.
Yeah, but then again, that doesn't mean they're bad people. It just comes from their own insecurities, right? They want to be acknowledged. They want to be loved. Yeah, they want to be seen to be doing something nice.
Yeah,
it all comes from your childhood, man. Like your childhood plays. I'm not a psychologist, by the way. I mean, I'm going through this because of my own personal experiences.
Yeah, no, but
I could be totally wrong. But I'm basing it on my own experience. Based on my experience, everything comes from your childhood. Okay, and it's interesting because you think you don't understand, but as a kid you see a lot, right? And it shapes you and makes you become who you are today. So for me, the adversity, all the pain that I went through, right, as a kid, being so poor, having the worst shoe at school every day, being picked on for my clothes, for my shoes, for everything at school.
Yeah.
That could have done two things. It could have either broken me, and God forbid, I could have, done bad things or to myself or killed myself or whatever it might have been, or couldn't, and which is a very sad thing to happen to a lot of people. Or it's a fuck this. I'm going to change this cycle. I don't ever want to fucking feel like that ever again. Right? I don't ever want to be picked on. I don't ever want to have the fucking worst shoes at school. I don't ever want this and that. So how am I going to do it? So the only way I'm going to do it is I'm going to fucking do something with my life. And then, because I know what it feels like to be picked on. I know what it feels like to have to fucking save 60 cents on a bus ticket and put that 60 cents in my pocket, walk for an hour and a half home so I can build those 60 cents. I know what it feels like. I know the pain. I know the shit that I had to go through. So now, when I have made it within my own rights, I can give back to that person that's going through that, what I went through.
Because you can see it.
Because I know what it feels like. But if I didn't know what it felt like and I was given everything, how would I know what it feels like? So I could see it, and I wouldn't understand it. I wouldn't comprehend it.
Yeah.
How can you comprehend pain of someone losing someone if you never lost someone? Yeah. You don't, man. Like people go, "Oh, I'm sorry this happened to you," but it's like, and I appreciate that because it's a beautiful gesture, because they are illusion, but they don't feel it. They haven't been through it. You have to go through those experiences.
You're talking about a different level of hard, because I came here with $6,000 in a bag of clothes and I thought that was hard, on my own.
But it is, bro.
It is, but you're talking about a different level of hard here.
Yeah, man.
You're talking about a different level of hard, like 2 years in a detention centre.
But it all teaches you, bud. It teaches you. It makes you who you are, People go, money changes people. Money doesn't change you. Money gives you a voice.
It accentuates whatever quality that you have within yourself.
Good man.
It makes a good person. It makes a good person a great person. It makes a bad person someone who's stingy. It makes them more stingy.
100%.
Because if you can't give when you've got $10, you can't give when you've got $100. You ain't going to give when you've got $1 million. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's where people get it wrong. It's like if you're going to give now. You don't wait till you hit a figure to give.
It's never going to happen, man.
Yeah.
And you got to be a good human, but you got to be a good human. I'm telling you, man, like, yes, you do get fucked over a few times here and there. But, man, your life will continue to move forward, man. I'm telling you. When you look back look back 10 years, the people that were good, the people that were around you, the people that loved you, the people that you had the best fun with, they're doing okay. The people that did the wrong thing, they're still going around the same circles, bro. They're just going around in circles. They haven't moved forward, man.
100%.
So, dude, above everything, be a good person. Perfect? Fuck no. Man, I'm far from perfect. I still fucking make a lot of mistakes every day, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about being a goody, a perfect. It's bullshit, right?
You have to make mistakes to learn something.
You do, bro. You do. And you're not going to be perfect. Everyone's going to have their own faults, and there's nothing wrong with it. As long as you're not hurting anybody, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
We're usually our own worst enemy in life. So that's number one. We're usually hurting ourselves more than anybody else. But you got to continue to be a good person, man. Very important.
And it all comes down to understanding who the fuck you actually are, and removing that attitude. I remember for years, even when I first came to Australia, I still had a chip on my shoulder about stuff that had happened to me years before. And I was still angry about it. And all that does essentially is build a wall between you and people. So like, the first few years was really hard because I made it fucking hard. Because I built that fucking wall and I kept putting other bricks on it rather than taking it down. Because that's just all about ego, isn't it? It's all about managing that ego, because you've got to have the ego, right?
Yeah, to push you, man.
To push you. You wouldn't have achieved what you had in life if you hadn't had the ego to go, fuck this, I want more for myself. But then you have to be able to remove the ego that says, fuck me, I'm better than everyone else.
You're very well said, but you're 100% on the money, man. 100% right. You're 100% right. And, I had my life partner that helped me with that, How
old were you when you met your wife?
I walked into a lecture room, I saw her and I knew she was the one, man. 22 years ago.
I ask people this all the time when they tell me this. I say, how did you know she was the one?
You just know, but I was never a big believer of love, this, that. But I just walked in and I knew she was the one. You just know, bro. Like how you know someone's a good person. You just know these things, man. Again,
so it's more of a feeling within inside yourself.
Yeah, you just feel it, but you just feel it. That's the person. Whether it's your life partner, your business partner, whatever, you just feel it. But it's crazy, man. It's just intuition, whatever you want to call them. It's your angels. You feel things, and when you feel it, just go with it. But give it your 150%. And
how long have you been married now?
20 years, man. 2 kids, the girls are growing up, 10 and 6. Life is good, man. Like I wasn't much around when the kids were growing up because I was trying to do my thing with work and everything else. But now I'm trying to spend as much time as possible, man. Like there's been a massive shift in my life, probably especially in the last 12 to 24 months. And I'm still trying, man. It's got a long way to go.
Was it like the COVID thing that made the shift?
No, it wasn't that. No, it's just my mind. For me, things don't make me change. I change when I want to change. I just see things, I don't want to bring things up, but like to see, for example, even now, you see, God bless him, man, Shane Warne passing away at his age,
man.
You see that. So there's been a lot of things that have been put in front of me to remind me in life.
To be present.
Yeah, but like, again, you meet people for a reason. Like, how do we connect? How do me and Sam connect? How do me and these other people connect? You don't connect for no reason, but people are put in front of you for a reason, good or bad, but there's a reason for it, okay? And again, I'm not religious. I'm Muslim. I got married in the biggest Catholic church in Melbourne. I went to a Catholic school, right? So when it comes to religion, I'm all over the place because I respect everybody's religion, right? But I'm a massive believer that there's a higher power, man. There's God out there, right? And a lot of the time, what I believe personally God does is he puts certain things in front of you to teach you certain things and remind you. Now, it's up to you. It's up to you to either pick that up and say, well, I see this, so I'm not going to make this mistake.
Yes.
Or you just brush it off and then you learn the hard way. And it's like, well, I put it in front of you to show you what will happen if this and this and this happen. Why did you not see it?
The same lesson will happen over and over again until you learn the lesson.
100%.
So like, it's like with me, it was presenting myself in my younger days. Well, not even younger days, even in the last like 12 months before, it's like women.
Yep.
I was attracting these beautiful women that are emotionally unavailable to me. And I was like, why is that? And when I did the breath work to look within, it was like, because you didn't feel love from your mum, so maybe you need to fix that. Because if you fix that, and you fix that relationship, and you fix all that stuff up, then, and you look inward to do that, then you can start to, and now the women that I attract in my life are different inherently because I've fixed that. So now there's going to be more lessons, and then I've got to look into those. It's like, that's the whole point in life, right?
You're a good man, 100%. Again, goes back to your childhood, man. Why didn't you feel the love from your mum? It goes back because maybe your mum was busy working, doing this and that, so she didn't give that love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's 100% true, man. And as men, our role models are mum and dad.
Yeah.
Right? So as female, who's the first female you see in your life? Your mother.
Yeah.
As a girl, who's the first male figure? Your father.
Yeah.
Right? So you will get accustomed to how your father is, and you expect and accept men like your father growing up, and vice versa.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
This is why that everyone that listens to this podcast and is tuned into it right this second, it's hitting their ears. If you're attracting people into your life that you don't like, or that you're asking yourself, why am I attracting them? Look at your mum and look at your dad, and then fix your relationship of what you had with them. And when you fix your relationship, what you had with them, the exterior, everything that's presenting themselves in the life that you're in right now, and this time that you're in right now, will fucking fundamentally change, and it'll move your life forward.
100%, but 100%.
You know
It took me 40 years to learn that, man. And a lot of help and talking to a lot of people, I'm very open, man, to listening to people and learning from people and reaching out to all sorts of people, from all different worlds, man. And but you're 100% on the money, and that's what it's all about, man. And I hope people take that on board, We try and brush this shit off and say, oh, it's weak, you're an idiot for thinking like that. It's not, man. It's the real thing.
Not like this. What I've learned is the sooner you do the inside work as a man or a woman, the sooner you can start to enjoy life and all the fruits of life. Yeah. You can't actually, you're forcing life until the point you look inward within yourself. Oh. Once you look inward, then you start to realize different parts of flow state in your life. Yep. You're always trying to increase the different flow states from the different areas, be it love, be it abundance, be it all money, be it all this. You're always trying to increase the flows, but at least you're removing the blockages that are stopping these different things. You might have a lot of money, but you might have a shit family life. You might have a great family life, but you might be fucking poor. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. You can have flow in all areas, but you just have to address the key wounds from your childhood that have instilled these beliefs, and question every belief that you have as well. Like, how many people? I was going through life with beliefs on certain cultures and beliefs on certain people and this, that, and the other. It's like, this is the thing. Everyone's being taught in the media at the moment that Russians are bad people. They've been taught for years watching the news that if you watch the news or watch films that Russians are gangsters, right? That Iranians are gangsters.
It's
right?
so true, man.
Your cultures are the gangsters in the Takens, in the films, right? In all these films. Yeah. So people, before they even meet the culture, have a preconceived idea, and they don't know where they've got it from.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's not formed on any basis.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying? But they've never asked, they've never disproved.
Where did this come from, man? And who put that in your head, Yeah. That's why what you said again, man, question things. Don't say because they say this is how you got to do things. People tell you, you go to school, from school, you go to university, from university, you get a 9-to-5 job. What's the first thing you do? You got to get married, you got to have kids, you got to have a mortgage. Yeah, so this shit's already set up for you. So 99.9% of people, or I should say that high, but most people just follow the system because that's a system that's implemented by everybody, including your own parents. Yeah. My parents wanted me to be a doctor or engineer. In their eyes, I was a failure for a long time because I didn't become a doctor or engineer. Because in the Persian culture, if you're not a doctor or engineer, you are a loser. You're a failure. So imagine how much pressure you have on you as a kid when the whole Iranian community goes and buys a newspaper, because back then it wasn't on the internet, it was in the Age newspaper, and they buy it and they're looking for your score to call and congratulate your parents. And if you haven't become a doctor or engineer, they do not call your parents and congratulate them because they say, look, so-and-so's son's a failure.
Yeah.
So imagine, look how the culture and shit works, man.
Yeah.
And imagine how much pressure that puts on you as a kid. Not at that moment. You probably crumble and fail and don't become a doctor engineer because you've got so much pressure on you, on number one. And then imagine having to live with that for a number of years, thinking that you're still a failure because you didn't become a doctor or engineer. Yeah. So all this stuff, man, it's just crazy stuff, right? And it's how you're perceived to have to live life, you know. Why do you have to get married? Why do you have to kids? Why do you have to have a house mortgage? You know, why? All these questions. Who said these rules? Does it suit you? If it suits you, are you happy with it? 100%. But man, it doesn't suit you. You do you. And fuck what society tells you. Society doesn't pay your bills, man. You work, you pay your bills, you know. Their opinion. You know, and that's the thing. Opinion, all right, and judgment. The moment you walk into a room, based on how your color, your race, the way you speak, the way you look,
you're judged.
You're judged. No matter what. I don't give a fuck what anyone says, right? They look you up and down, they judge you. And you see the tone changes, the conversation, everything, like it's all different, right? So no matter, and it doesn't matter how much money you have, you don't have, or how successful, how educated you are, it's got nothing to do with it. No matter what, you're going to get judged on some degree. But they don't pay your bills, man. So the judgment doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Right? They don't fucking pay your bills. Yeah. Who are they to judge you? And, you know, that's one thing that I hate the most, when people judge others, man. You know, it's not cool. Should never judge people. You should never allow people's judgment decide where your destiny is going to go and be.
Yeah, man. I've had plenty of judgment on others over my life.
So have I, man.
But I've had to pull myself.
Yeah.
I catch myself doing it now.
But we have to learn, because no one taught us, because we were taught the same way. So we've just learned, and we still sometimes do it probably. Like you said, you catch yourself.
I catch myself, and then I ask myself in my head. Yeah. I ask myself the question I ask myself all the time is, where does that come from, and does that come from an inadequacy within yourself? Yeah. And if it comes from an inadequacy within yourself, then I'll fix that inadequacy rather than keep projecting that onto someone else. Because that's all judgment is. Yeah. Judgment is a projection of an internal feeling that you have within yourself on how you view yourself. So if you view someone else as being not worthy, then essentially you don't feel worthy, right? 100%. Or wouldn't it be fucking better then, if you don't feel worthy, to address the unworthiness within your own fucking life, than to keep projecting it onto other people as their problem?
100%.
Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
And that's the society we're living in. What I'm trying to get people to understand when they listen to this podcast, and I knew this was going to be a banger. Yeah. I just want people to understand that every thought that you have, positive or negative, is actually great for you, because it actually shows you the path of what you need to fix. And then if you just take the cues that you're given in life, and you fix yourself up on the cues that you're actually given, then you can like you say, you move further towards this flow state. Things start to come to you, and that's why when you look at someone like yourself who's going through life with what I term as like ease, joy, and glory. Yeah. So like now, because you're addressing these things, you're the monetary, the wife, the kids, everything's coming. Ease, joy, and glory. The nice cars, everything's coming. But you're giving. Yeah. And you're receiving. You're giving. You're receiving. It's ease, joy, and glory. Yeah. That's just a great fucking thing, and we should all strive for that by fixing content, inside.
Man. And you're 100%. You're spot on, man. You're spot on. Everything you say is spot on, man. And you know what's funny? We still, I still sometimes judge people, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? So don't be so hard on yourself. You're still gonna do it because you're programmed like that. For 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
That's what I try and tell people. I'm like, don't judge yourself for judging other people. Yeah. Just assess it and be like, why am I doing that? Like, don't. But people beat themselves up for the judgment, and then they judge themselves. There's so many people out there that I see on a day-to-day basis that just constantly fuck themselves because they're just judging themselves all the time. That's not good enough. I catch myself all the time, but I go and have a fucking word with myself about it, and I'm like, okay, snap yourself together. Like the other day, right? Yeah. I got to number 5 in education in the whole of Australia, podcasting, right?
Wow, that's cool, man.
Yeah, right.
I love that.
I did,
that's
right?
Awesome. Good on you.
But what did I do? I said to myself,
why am I number 5?
Why am I number 5, not number 1, right? Yeah, right. Yeah. And I was angry. I was angry at myself. I'm like, I've let my family down. I've let myself down.
Yeah, man.
And then I went down the beach, and I sat on the beach, and I do breath work, right? Because it brings me back in alignment. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, man, just be grateful for everything you've got. Like, you could be 105. You could be number 3067. Like, fuck.
100%. You could be nothing. You couldn't even be up there. You're up there. That counts. That's all that counts, man.
Yeah, everything counts.
Yeah.
And we've all got to just be kind to ourselves.
Yeah.
Be kinder to other people.
Be kind to ourselves. So true.
But here's the thing as well, like with kindness. Yeah. Kindness comes out to other people when you start being kinder to yourself 100%. Internally. So it's such a great thing.
You come first, but, on a plane, put your mask on before you put the mask on the person next to you. Help yourself before you can help others, man.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot of times, people trying to help others, but it's like, dude, you're suffering inside. You can't even help yourself. And it's a great thing that they're doing because they're trying. And I love that. And it shows their character and how beautiful they are, right?
But there's a process.
But come on, there's 100%, man. There's a process. But get yourself right. Get your head in the right headspace. Get your everything else right in life. Now you're in a position of power to give. And fucking give, man. Give. And give to the right people. And one of the other things that we do a lot of is that we take people that love us for granted.
Yeah.
We take people that are there for granted. We don't make time for the people that are always there with us. They love us. The people that made us to become. Because you don't become who you are on your own.
No way.
There's a lot of people that have had a part to play. Yeah, and they're the people behind the scenes that no one hears about because they just love to give. They don't like recognition, right? There's a lot of those people that have done one thing, two things, 3, 4, 5 little things or big things, but they've done things, and those things have added up to help you to be where you are today, right?
Yeah.
So they play an important role, right? But as I said, you got to make sure that you look after you first, and once you're in that place, don't neglect the people that were there. Don't chase others. We tend to chase others. We forget the ones that are there for us, It's like you always want what you can't have, they say, right? So you're going out there and doing things with people that really, what do they want from you, man? Yeah, they might be fun. You have a bit of fun, laughter, this, that. But the core...
Party friends, they call it.
Yeah, the party friends. Yeah, and I've been through that, man. I've been through all that shit. And, you sit there, like you could be in a room and, you're not even acknowledging the person that's done so much for you, and you're too busy talking to 100 other people. They can fucking wait, man.
Yeah.
That person there comes first. They should have the first bite of the food. They should have the first drink. Yeah. It's a sign of fucking respect, man.
I remember like the first 5 to 10 people that reached out to me all the time that listened to the podcast week in, week out when we were starting and all that stuff. I remember all those people and who they are, and I remember their faces and you know what I mean, their names, and it's like that means a lot to you as you start to go through, because it's like that's your core group of people.
The people that were there for you, but so important, man. We neglect them a lot. We've got to learn not to neglect the people that were always there for us, man.
It's so true, isn't it, that we kind of everything in life is just a gentle reminder to get yourself back to actually where you started.
Yeah, but
in a lot of cases.
Yeah, like you said, man, meditation, reflection. I don't meditate, man. I try meditation. I can't do it. But, this morning I get up, every morning at 4:30 or 5:30, depending if I'm training at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So this morning I got up and I trained my brain, man. So I got up at 5 o'clock this morning and I just sat in bed and just reflected for an hour or so, man. And it fucking felt good. Just reflected on where my life's going, what I got on for today. And I haven't done that for a long time.
That is meditation, though.
It is meditation. Yeah.
That is, like you say, you can't meditate. Reflection is meditation.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just
because meditation, you think you got to close your eyes, you got to sit there and do that.
Because you think meditating can be a walk down the street, just pondering your own thoughts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you don't.
True.
Meditation is a word that people have associated with sitting with your legs crossed, with your hands in front of you, and you like. You know what I mean? And like Dalai Lama, it's not like that. Meditation can be a walk. Meditation can be running. Meditation, for me years ago, used to be in the boxing gym.
Yeah, cool. I love that.
Do you know what I mean? Just hitting the bag and going through the motions and just even seeing things before they happened. In terms of like if I was sparring or something, that was meditation to me. I didn't realize it at the time, but you don't have to physically be sat there and. But if you do take a few moments in your day, if you just take a few moments in your day and just concentrate on your breaths in and out, it will bring a fundamental change within your feeling within your body, and you can also feel anywhere that you may be feeling tight and tension, and where that tension is, you can breathe into it and you can release it.
100%.
It's good, but I'm glad that you said that you sat there and reflected, because. A lot of top entrepreneurs do that. They sit there and they set time aside to think.
Yeah. You have to.
And I think that's so critical to be able to put that time aside to think, because there's so many people chasing this success thing where like you hustle in the early days.
Yeah.
But it's just like sometimes just sitting there for an hour and thinking, is this the best way to achieve that?
No, it's not, man. And you know what's so funny? To add to what you just said again, which is fucking perfect. I've been in this industry for almost 20 years, if not longer, and I've seen companies built to $150 million by entrepreneurs, not big companies, 2 or 3 blokes, and for it to all crumble. I've seen it happen probably 4 times. Yeah. Now, those 4 people, what did they do wrong? I can guarantee you they were big thinkers when they were building it. But as they got busy, they made decisions without thinking because they just, you know what I mean, man? Now, it's like, I know everything. Boom, 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 boom. We're making decisions, yeah?
Yeah.
It takes one fucking bad decision. To give you an example, 2 friends of mine, they own a company called ISP1. Zach and Chris built it up to $100 million, did a deal with Kogan over SIM cards. They thought the average call time on a SIM card would have been probably a couple of minutes or whatever. I can't remember the time. But because of the Kogan's customer base, it was longer than that, right? So they fucked that up. So they were buying it at from Telstra based per second or minute, but they were selling it unlimited, I think, from memory.
Right, okay.
And they got the minutes wrong, and that destroyed their business, amongst other things that they would have done. But
it's a catalogue of errors.
Yeah, right. So like that didn't come from a bad place, but they would have done. They didn't sit there, analyze it properly, or whatever. And it's no one's fault. It's not Kogan's fault. It's no one's fault. They're just a customer. It's no one's fault. They just made an error. They did the sums wrong. Now, would they have done that differently 20 years ago when they started, or 30 years ago, whenever they started?
They would have spent more time being meticulous.
Yeah, 100%, man. So I learned from that. So when I saw that was, that's when I was just starting my business back then. I said, don't ever fucking do that again. Again, God putting something in front of you to teach you.
To show you something.
Show you.
Everything's to show you something, though.
Are you in a good place to see it or not? That is the thing.
Even when I have conversations with people like yourself, every conversation that I find myself in at the time that I find myself in, I'm like, fucking, I was meant to hear this today. I was meant to pick that up. You know what I mean? I was meant to get this value out of you today to be able to distill this into thousands of people's ears.
We didn't talk about this. We didn't talk about what we're going to talk about. We just talked about things. It just came out. This is where the conversation. But the conversation could have been all about business. I don't want that.
Because this is where the growth is for people. It's like. We can spend hours talking about business and that and the other. Yeah. I do want to touch on one more business before we go. Before we get off the podcast, I want to touch because it's such an interesting space to me. Cannabis. Yeah. You're obviously rolled into the cannabis space.
Yeah. Why? So I'll tell you the main reason why I did it. My sister has been in pharmaceutical games for probably 30 years.
Yeah.
Traveled the world, really didn't get to see her much. So the number one reason why I wanted to do something with medicinal cannabis was something that brought me and my sister close together. Her coming from a pharmaceutical background, going back to spending time with my family. I wanted to see her at the office. I wanted to spend time with my sister, because I never got to do that. Again, being in a place and thank God, having the facilities to be able to do it. That was my number one goal. So that's where that came from, right?
Yeah, beautiful.
Number 2. My business partner of 20 years or so, we finished things up probably a couple of years ago between us. He suffered anxiety over the last 4 or 5 years to a whole different degree that I've never seen before in my life. When I got the best help with the best doctors and everything, and seeing him being put on all the prescription medication as he was put through, I saw this absolute genius person turn into basically someone that couldn't leave the house anymore. Right?
Really?
It just blew my mind, man. Right? And I started looking at things, and I realized that a lot of people that suffer anxiety and all that, medicinal cannabis can help them a lot. So that really hit me in a spot too, man. And I'm like, fuck, there's other medication that can help people. There's other things that can help people rather. I don't know, man. I don't know what medication gives Xanax Valley. What the fuck it is? They load you up on all this shit.
Those opioids are.
I don't know what it is, man.
Are a bad idea.
Yeah, so I'm not a doctor or anything, but to see this absolute genius of a person not be able to leave his house and have to call me to go and take him to the doctors and stuff, it just blew my mind, broke my heart. I absolutely love him. I love the guy. He's been my business partner for a long time. So to see that happen again, that was another reason, right? And number 3 was traveling. I love traveling, man. Like travel to LA and to see how it's accessible. You can go to a shop and buy it through under controlled system, and it's a leaf, man. We're not talking about ice, coke, this, that. We're talking about 2 different things. It's a grows plant that can help you with anxiety and a lot of other things. And Why are we so behind in the world, man? Why are we, 10, 20 years behind compared to what's happening out there? Why? I don't understand.
I do think this is a country of golden opportunities.
Oh, it is, man. But we're so far behind, man. Why do we have to always be behind?
But
yeah,
rather than seeing that as a bad thing, that's a great thing for the entrepreneurs in this country because because at the end of the day, right, it's perception, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can either see being behind as a bad thing. Why are we so behind? Or you can be like, do you know what?
Yeah.
If I go out to America, if I go out to the UK and I see what's in the market and what's working and just bring it back to Australia,
and do better.
How many entrepreneurs do we both know that have just done that? And how much simpler is it to go and see what works in someone else's market at the scale and then reverse engineer the outcome here?
100%. But with health, man, I want to give that to people quicker. I don't want to wait 10 years to help people, With business, you're 100% right. But this is health, bro. I want to help people. We're seeing probably 500 patients a month now, right? And man, is it money-making exercise? Fuck no, right? We're not making money. I can guarantee you that. There's no money. Yeah, there's bit, but it's definitely negative. It's in the negative, right? Right now it's in the negative. In 10 years' time, based on laws and stuff changes, but it's not about that now. It's about really combination of things. My business partner and seeing what he went through, being close to my sister, and helping people.
How's the products helped him so far?
So it just helps his anxiety, man. Like, having to, it's just making more calmer. It gives him less stress levels, being able to get out and see things and do things. But still, he's still suffering because still, like, trying to come off that medication still,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just a matter of just understanding. A lot of people going through a lot of pain, a lot of cancer patients, a lot of people, man. And he's a natural product. We don't have our own products, so we don't sell our own products. So what we've done is we've built a system where we connect doctors and patients together. That's it. We're not in cultivating. We're not in pushing any products of our own. We're not in dispensing it and all that. Do I want to do that? 100%. Yeah, but one step at a time. Man.
Yeah, once the laws change enough for you to be able to do it at a profitable state, then I'm sure you'll get into it.
Yeah, but now it's all a passion project for me, man. It's a passion project because of those reasons, and man, it's been really good.
That's epic. That's epic. And do you know what? The one question I always ask people before we drop off the podcast is like, if you got to leave the planet tomorrow, and you can't take anything with you, but you can just leave like a paragraph of pearls of wisdom to instill in the next generation coming up. Yeah, what would it be?
Dude, one of the things that I'm starting to learn, because being a guy, you're usually very mature. You get mature as you get older. To me, life's all about legacy, man. I just want to leave some kind of a legacy behind for my kids and for their kids and for a lot of other people. If I can leave some kind of a legacy behind that can help people in some way or form or shape, I've done my role. And that's really, really important to me, man. And I'm going to focus my life on doing that in the next 5 or 10 years of my life. I really want to build a foundation and a legacy and give back, and in a way that it really matters and changes someone. Because if you walk into a room and there's 1,000 people there and you affect one person's life by saying something or doing something, you've done a fucking good job, man. And that's what I want to be in my life. And just be a good human, be kind.
That's why I do this, mate, 100%.
I swear to you, bro. It is the most important thing. And yes, I have plenty of faults. Everyone has plenty of faults. It's not about that. It's about your kindness and giving and just being a good human and leaving a good legacy. And I promise you do that in your life, dude, you're going to have a fucking good life and everything will work out.
I love it, mate. I love it. And that is Sam Bashiry, guys. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. People can follow you. I'll tag your Instagram and your websites under this, so you can follow Sam, follow me at Frankie Lee on Instagram as well, at Sam Bashiry on Instagram. Guys, do me a solid favor. Yeah, listen to that twice. I think there's so many pearls of wisdom in that for you to grab hold of and to formulate some wisdom from and kind of take your life forward. Certainly spend some time reflecting on what life is trying to tell you right now, in terms of like all the things that are clearly being shown in your path are obviously there for a reason. All the traits that you don't like in people are there to show you something within yourself that you can change, and vice versa. So it's like just as long as you can understand that and kind of implement that in your life. I know it's helped me and I know it's helped Sam too. So do us a solid favor, send us a message, let us know how the podcast went, and mate, again, thanks so much, fella.
Love it.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank
you. Ciao.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Frankie Lee Podcast.